Hey gang, this is DJ. I wanted to make a video to show off. I've got all of the Dragon magazine covers input into my interactive Dungeons and Dragons publishing timeline thing here. I'll put a link in the description below. Um, and I've been just a brief overview before I dig into the Dragon magazine stuff. This is a showing pretty much everything published by TSR in first and second edition across time. So you've got different columns for different settings, when the different settings came into existence, the core books up here. And I've added Dragon Magazine covers now. So let's take a look. Let's zoom in. And as I was laying this out and figuring out, where were gaps and what were numbers, and I started to notice a few things. I was kind of interested in when the covers changed, like when redesigns happened to them, and there were several over the course of the life of Dragon magazines. So you'll notice there are height differences between rows here. Whenever that happens, there was a rebrand that occurred. So let's kind of step through time. There were a total of 430 issues of Dragon magazine, the print and digital. So let's go back to the beginning. 1974, OD&D is published, and before even the first supplement, before even a character sheet is released, we get Strategic Review number 1, Volume 1, number 1. This is before Tim Kask is hired. I think he gets introduced a couple of strategic reviews later. So this is basically just a fanzine. I think they're like 8 pages long or something pretty short. There were 7 issues. It went through volume 1 through numbers 1 through 5 in December of 75. And then there were 2 volume 2 strategic reviews, and then it ended, and they switched over to Dragon Magazine was the new publication. By the way, this gray line represents my own vintage campaign. We're playing 74 OD&D rules, and every session we advance the next published thing. So we've introduced all the rules from every strategic review, and Dragon Magazine ups to number 5. So here's a look at Dragon Magazine number 1. That was the first issue. I call this the squiggly logo. It was $1.50 at the time, so June 1996. The first one's released. It's a little gappy. There's some months that you don't get one. In I think Dragon Magazine 4 or 5, they mentioned we're going to put out 8 a year now. Eventually, they hit a cadence of 1 a month. But so we go about 2.5 years of the original look of Dragon Magazine, and then a rebrand happens. Issue 27 in July of 79. It's still called The Dragon, but we lose the squiggly logo, and it goes to this, I'll call it the classic logo on issue 27. And just some minor stuff changes. We only get 4 issues like this. We're still using the volume and number convention in here. That's sort of a carryover from Strategic Review. We've got the month, year, number. And then after 4 issues of that, they changed it again. So the gets is made smaller. We drop the volume and number at this point, so we're just getting a number and the month, and it's up to $2 now. So that's issue 31. One issue just like that, and then they drop the month 1 issue later in 32. So here's the classic Dragon Magazine look. It didn't last long at all until we get the next change, less than a year. July 1980, issue 39, we lose and now it's just Dragon Magazine, or just Dragon. Maybe I should have altitude changed this because we only get 1 issue before another change occurs. The monthly adventure role-playing aid is added in issue 40. And then we go quite some time, years and years, not quite a decade, but one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, about 7.5 years with this look. And fast forward 1998. So what's going on around here? So when this rebrand occurred, where we go to just Dragon Magazine, that what was happening around here? So we had not long ago just had essentially AD&D published. I think Monster Manual came first, Player's Handbook, and then the Dungeon Master's Guide. So first edition, I think, begins in earnest. I would say here, I think many of the combat rules are in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So I don't know that AD&D is entirely playable before the DMG comes out. So anyway, 7.5 years later, here we are in the late 80s. Gary Gygax is gone about a year before this next change. So it's Dragon Magazine with a little banner for the word magazine, and they ditch the monthly adventure role-playing aid text. We've got December, we've got month, year, and number, and a little description of what's in the issue. Looking at the barcode, this will change over time too. We just have a UPC, and then I don't know what that is, some kind of serial number. So there we go. We're at issue 128 up to this point, and we have a good long stretch of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of this look. And around then, we're going to get a rebranding. Then a year later, Wizards of the Coast buyout happens. So this is sort of the end of the TSR era. There's a rebrand about a year before the buyout. So issue 225, we are in January of 96 now. I personally graduated high school 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or well, more. I didn't graduate high school 4 years ago. And so we get the new curved logo, as I'm describing it. So we've got an issue number. The magazine goes over onto the side now. Kind of a newer, slick look. And this doesn't last long at all, about a year, and then the buyout goes down. So so that happens in April. So that we've got a gap, our first sort of big gap in Dragon Magazine. So there were several months where it was not published, and then we jumped from issue 236 to 237 in mid 97. And same logo though. We were still the new curved look that had only been a year old at that point. We hit the issue 250 milestone, and we go on for 3.5 years or so of this. About 3 years. And then in 2000, we get our next rebrand. So this is the, this is like 9 Inch Nails, like edgy logo kind of thing. Couple other stuff. We're getting new stuff around the barcode now. The Dungeons and Dragons movie is just coming out this year. Coincidentally, my only movie credit was on that movie long ago. I moved to games right after that. And this sort of correlates with the change to 3rd edition. So here we are in 2000, and this rebrand, the edgy rebrand we'll call it, goes on for about 2 years or so, and then we see another minor change. Paizo Publishing gets added to the barcode. We're up to $6 now for a copy of Dragon Magazine. Same logo. And yeah, Paizo, as everyone knows, goes on to create Pathfinder. But yeah, they sort of kicked off over here publishing Dragon Magazine. So that's issue 300. That was issue 299 that switch happened. So we hit issue 300, an anniversary issue. There's another gap. And we don't go too much longer with this style, 2.5 years. And then we get another rebrand. Back to sort of a more classic style of logo. It's updated, but it's kind of more reminiscent of sort of the early classic logo. We've got the 3.5 edition logo, or third, I'm not sure. We're in September of 2004 at this point, full rebrand. So that correlates to, we're in 3.5 era now. So fourth edition is when a little bit of a shakeup's going to happen at Dragon. So we go, 3-ish years, 3.5, and then issue 395, the final print issue. This is the last one. Elminster versus Raceland. That's awesome. So here we are, September 2007. That's the last print one. We go digital from here. So there's going to be just a couple of looks. This is essentially, we're about to codify the look till Dragon Magazine functionally ends. So here we are. This is the first 2 digital issues of pretty killer covers, in my opinion. There's all of the extra text is gone. There's no what's in the magazine. There's no barcode, no anything. And then for some reason we get a 2-month gap, and then this I would maybe describe as not the greatest look. There's no cover at all. Well, kind of. I mean, there's kind of, it shows the cover inside of, and this may be just how the PDF was set up and prepped. I don't know, but the cover is a little thumbnail inside of there, I guess. And that look only lasts for 2 issues. We get another 2-month gap, and we get another rebrand on issue 364 in June of 2008. And this will be the final look of Dragon Magazine. You got the issue number, month, and year along the side, the title sideways, and then for the first time, a fairly consistent art style in the cover art, which I think looks great. Then yeah, going forward, this is sort of the beginning of the end, I suppose. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 years of this look. For whatever reason, there's no titles on these 2. Maybe that's just the PDFs that are on the archive online. But we hit issue 400, and then issue 430, as far as I know, at least on the archive that I was looking at, it's the last issue of Dragon Magazine. So I thought that was fascinating. I didn't know a lot of those little details. I didn't know where gaps happened. I didn't know how any of these changes correlated to some of the larger changes in the company and the editions. But there you go. There's a look at the cover art of Dragon Magazine. Thanks for watching. This is DJ. Bye.